This is Oppo's new top flagship, the Find X5 Pro. It brings a bunch of high-end features along with a hefty price tag. The Find X5 Pro is the sequel to last year's Find X3 Pro. The design is clearly similar, especially when it comes to the curves. You again get a camera bump that slopes into the back panel, although this time it brings a slightly more interesting slanted shape. We have the white model, which is made from ceramic, rather than the X3 Pro's glass. It's a bit heftier and should be more durable, especially Hasselblad branding on the backside. Oppo has continued the partnership that OnePlus had. And just like last year's models, the Find X5 Pro has IP68 rated protection against water and dust. On the front is a curved LTP. Display is very sharp. It's contrasty too, and supports both HDR10 Plus and 10-bit color. The colors can be very accurate too, through the personalization options. Another Oppo feature is that you can cast your phone wirelessly to a Windows PC through Multi-Screen Connect, and access your phone's functions through the computer. You do get Android 12's privacy dashboard too, which organizes your permissions options into one easy-to-find spot. For biometrics, the Find X5 Pro has an under-display optical fingerprint reader. It's well-placed and reliable. And by holding down your finger on the reader, you can open up the Quick Launch menu for shortcuts.
This is the OnePlus 10 Pro, and it's got more than a few slogans to match. A device that captures 4 generations. They've wanted this Pro lineup at a time when even the flagship makers have their own flagship killers. Unless you go Nord, 2022 sees the company lay all of its eggs in one basket, and dare I say, a very competitive one. So, if this singular launch of the OnePlus 10 Pro is a statement to the death of the old, if the base OnePlus 9 was just there to save face and help us believe the company we knew was not entirely lost. Now, whether there were lessons learned or not, I'm really happy this OnePlus 10 Pro is nothing like that. Price is now in a far more logical territory, and even if we see some corners cut to achieve it, this again is part of the OnePlus we knew before, regarded against drops and scratches. Sure, there is no IP rating unless you go T-Mobile, but it's not like if these are technically different in build for us to worry about enough splash resistance. Favorite. The matte back is now complemented by a ceramic contour that holds a camera module that's pretty unique, even if it draws some obvious inspirations that at this point are kind of inevitable with such a saturated market.
Alright Google, play my Pixel 7 Pro review. This is the Pixel 7 Pro, and as someone who really enjoyed both the Pixel, wanted to let the dust settle with this device, second wave of reviews come through, hold off for a software update or two, and more than anything. And so after using this phone as my main and everyday device for a full month, I'm finally ready to share some thoughts on it. You ready? Let's dive in. It really is an iterative update rather than a huge and ambitious redesign. And huge redesigns and brand new in-house chipsets powering the devices, and then jumping on that. And so with that being said, let's discuss the differences between this phone and last year's phone. We'll start with the design, and for me, there are really 3 main areas that have been changed with the 7 Pro. The first change button and the volume rockers are now slightly lower on the side of the device. Google has done this to make the phone design refresh with the 7 Pro. Here is the camera housing on the back. Instead of black glass like what we had on last year's entire lineup of devices, we now have a shiny, way more than the previous glass camera unit, so that's obviously not a great thing. But every color in this lineup.
The new iPhones are finally here, and this is the compact, yet feature-packed iPhone 14 Pro. First and foremost, Apple has replaced the notch cutout for the selfie cam and 3D face recognition, with a pill-shaped one called the Dynamic Island. And the new model brings a new 48-megapixel main cam, and you'll notice that the 3 camera bumps are wider in diameter now to keep things symmetrical. They also stick out more from the back panel. Besides that, the design hasn't really changed at all. The flat back is protected by ceramic shield glass, and there's the glossy, flat steel frame. The size and weight are basically the same as before too. The matte black color is tweaked now to be a little darker though, and there's also a new purple color available. Of course, the new iPhones are also IP68 rated against dust and water up to 6 meters in depth, just like last year. The brightness level that adapts to the ambient light. The 120Hz refresh rate is something relatively new to the iPhones. It smooths out your swiping and scrolling, and can dial down to save energy, all the way to 10Hz while the screen is on, and now 1Hz for the always-on display. But for audio, the iPhone 14 Pro has a pair of stereo speakers, with the earpiece doubling as the second speaker. They earned a score of good in our loudness test, and the sound quality is excellent. This is Samsung's ultimate flagship, the Galaxy S22 Ultra, and unlike the rest of this year's S series, it brings a design and features which are more like a Galaxy Note phone. The design that's quite different from the rest of the S series. It's larger and heftier, and its cameras come straight out of the back, rather than being mounted in a camera bump. Plus the Ultra has a flat back, top and bottom, quite like a Galaxy Note device. Another big change over last year's model is that the S22 Ultra integrates the stylus into the design, with a dedicated dock at the bottom. It's a lot more secure, and it means that you'll always have your pen with you, unlike the S21 Ultra where you'd need to keep it elsewhere. And don't worry about the dock, the phone has full IP68 rated ingress protection. Plus it's overall quite durable with Gorilla Glass Victus Plus on the back and the front. Under the screen sits an ultrasonic fingerprint reader. It's quite fast and responsive to wake up and unlock the phone. For audio, the S22 Ultra has a pair of stereo speakers, with the earpiece acting as the second one. The speakers earned a score of good on our loudness charts, but are a bit quieter than last year's model.